Today's topic is going to actually be what to expect from your dispatcher. For a lot of the guys new to the business as an owner operator, they first time buying their truck, entering in this market and with good rates, I would say. What do you think?
Yeah, the rates are actually pretty good. Absolutely.
Okay. So now, some of these guys are going to stumble in accepting loads. That happens to be one of the things that we've come across where sometimes these guys get in their own head. And I mean, what's your look on that? Like, how can you prevent that, or maybe not even prevent it, but how do you help yourself understand the market a little bit different and understand exactly how spot market works?
I think the biggest issue is listening to wrong people and having no clue on what's going on and still trying to get involved. I think that's the biggest challenge, and I'm guilty of that too. I've done my fair share of bitching and moaning and complaining to the dispatcher and asking for stuff that does not exist. But later on, when I actually became a dispatcher,
Yeah.
I had my fair share of blushing, where I was like, crap, I was telling my dispatchers that nonsense.
Yeah.
And the reality is, for the most part, your dispatcher is trying to do the best for you as a owner operator. And every time you get involved, unless you really know what's going on, and Johnny or Bobby at the truck stop said this or said that don't count. Or some of your buddies is going with a certain load right now, that don't count. You don't know the details of that. So ideally, here's what I would say. I don't know how to solve this issue.
Right.
I just know there is an issue, and it's probably as old as trucking, as old as the spot market. I think here's the only way to really test it. You can start early Monday, or better off get preloaded on Friday, and let your dispatcher do the thing. Don't get involved. Do the best. Just drive. Just make it happen, and then look at your paycheck. I think that's the only way.
Yeah, and I mean, it also depends on who's dispatching you and what company you're aligned with, but not every experience at every company is going to be the same. It could be for the better, it could be for the worse. It's wherever you're going, right? But one of the things, conditioning yourself to, never accept the first load you're offered, because that guy, they'll find you a better load. Or no matter how great it is, if it's that load getting you out of that situation you're in, $100 more now, and I'll take the load. But if that $100 means you sit for the weekend because it was Friday late afternoon,
or not even sit for a weekend, you're not able to secure that load, and you get another load that goes to a totally different place and messes up all the plans and all the other aspects, of your dispatcher trying to put things together. And then at the end of the day, if something doesn't go the perfect way, the way you imagined, now it's dispatcher's fault. You cannot be changing the rules of a game during the game and expect the main player of a game, who is at the end of the day is your dispatcher, to compensate for all the changes that you create.
Exactly. And so I mean, we have a similar case. We got a guy who was looking to end on a nice weekend, nice week, real good money, almost $9,000, and completely changed up the plans. And once you do that, now we're probably struggling like to get halfway there, maybe, because we're so busy comparing to nothing tangible. You're comparing loads to a friend of a friend who, you're playing telephone of a friend who knows about a guy who got a load. But where is it? And then that becomes the problem. And then at the end of the day, after you make those changes, I mean, everybody's got to have some personal accountability in that, right? You change the game, so now you change the plan. Now what's the outcome? Did you make your financial goal? It's so much easier to blame everybody else, but at the same time, your idea, right? What about that part?
And I agree. Look, I think the biggest challenge here is this: everybody is trying to control something.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're trying to control something that you don't know much about, and even if you've been dispatching yourself and you know what it looks like, man, let me tell you, I've been dispatching for a long time, and if I haven't been on the load board for a month or a couple of weeks,
you're disconnected, man.
I'm disconnected. That's it. I don't know what's going on, because the spot market is moving fast. It's moving crazy fast. And if you think that you booked a few loads here and there somewhere, and now you can make all the right choices, and now because you booked something a year ago, now you want the same thing, that don't even exist. I said that multiple times. I can repeat it again. I consider myself a badass dispatcher, if I'm dispatching, okay? When I got back in the truck after dispatching for a couple of years,
yeah,
I would say give me a half-ass dispatcher who does it all the time, every day, dispatching trucks in the dispatch office, having other dispatchers around him to gather the information necessary, and he is probably gonna beat me on me dispatching myself in the truck and playing the guessing game.
Yeah.
Because everybody else would say, yeah, but DAT has those price ranges that the averages that people move those rates for. Dude, that's like 2 weeks old, and 2 weeks old in a spot market, that's like Stone Age.
Yeah, because it's not just about that rate, man. I mean, now you took a load, you deliver stop 1, you're delivering stop 2. Stop 2 says, hey, you don't deliver. We're not going to take this load for another 3 days because the BOL says so, or whatever the situation. How do you handle that? You need somebody in that corner that's going to fight that angle, that's going to fight that, hey, let me get a cross dock. This is coming off my truck no matter what. Like, so it's more than just scrolling and finding that $100 more and so forth, because sometimes to chase that $100 you lose a lot more money than you would have gained. So
yeah, absolutely. And averages such as, let's say you go from Lakeland to Atlanta, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting in Atlanta right now, and your dispatcher is offering you a load, let's just say going to Chicago, right? For a decent rate, not perfect rate, decent rate. Now you refuse. You're like, hell no, I'm not gonna do that. Send me to whatever, somewhere else, to get 10 cents more for that specific load. Once you get to that other destination, let's say that other destination is Ohio, and I'm just pulling the locations out of my butt.
yeah,
But that happens in real dispatching. And out of Ohio, there is nothing for you to come back home for a good rate. But in your dispatcher had a plan. He didn't have the specific load, but he had a plan. If I can get this guy to Chicago, I'm gonna really cash out on his way back to Lakeland.
yeah.
But now you're not in Chicago. You're in Ohio. And I'm not saying Ohio is bad. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that, how do we say that the kid gets lost between 2 teachers?
Okay.
So the business, your trucking business, your owner-operator business will suffer between the decision-making and constant fighting between you and the dispatcher. The best thing that you really can do as an owner-operator, let your dispatcher do the job, and if your dispatcher sucks, 2 weeks later, you're probably going to know about it. Go to ops manager and you're going to get another dispatcher.
Yeah, because you got to remember the biggest key, like spot market in itself, correct me if I'm wrong, actually means that the rates are determined by availability of trucks.
Absolutely.
So if you're just taking something blindly into an area, and now it's saturated with trucks, a bunch of trucks in this area with minimal loads, you're done, man. You're gonna have to take whatever's on the board.
Absolutely. And the person who knows about doesn't know but has the best guess what's gonna happen there is your dispatcher.
Yeah, because of visibility, of being in the market, tangible, listening to the people around them. I don't have to learn the hard way. I heard somebody else in Ohio saying, hey man, rates are starting to drop in that area, so I need to get out of here. And again, we're not beating up Ohio or anything like that. We're just kind of using different areas just as an example. But the mythology behind selecting loads and areas that you're going to be going to for the week. So I agree, man. It's having that little bit of open mind and being a student about the game, and look at it holistically. We say that time and time again. You have to look at it at the big picture at the end of the week, what you're going to take home.
And we're also not saying that every dispatcher is a good dispatcher. Every dispatcher cannot do no wrong. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely we can do that. But your best bet, instead of constantly fighting and creating the situations where even your half-ass dispatcher cannot do the most for you because you're always interfering, just let them do their thing. You do your thing. You do the driving. Be on time. Do all that. 2 weeks later, if the money is not there, we gotta talk. Because yes, there are some crappy dispatchers.
Yeah.
There are some dispatchers that if you don't say nothing, we're just gonna give you all kinds of garbage loads. But that's not a good dispatcher, and that's not a standard. That's not how dispatchers act. And I had the drivers myself like this who would always refuse the first load, whatever that stupid rule is. Man, I'm not even calling you with some BS load. If I'm calling you as a dispatcher, I believe this is it for today. And all of you guys arguing with me right now, probably hating on me. Let me tell you, every day I hear in the dispatch, man, I don't understand how the hell I offered this guy this perfect load in the morning. He said no. And now he said yes to this stupid load.
Yeah.
There is no common sense. So I'm just saying, let your dispatcher do the dispatching, you do the driving. Then a week or two later, if the money is not there, and if it's a load related money not there, then we gotta talk. Then maybe you need another dispatcher, maybe you need another company, maybe you need make some changes. But before you start doing that, you have to allow your dispatcher to at least show you what he's got.
Yeah.
And for a dispatcher to show you what he's got, he needs to have some options. And every time, let's say, if I'm a dispatcher, I want to show you what I got, and my plan is, I'm going to send you to Atlanta. From Atlanta, I'm going to send you to Memphis. From Memphis, I'm going to send you to Chicago. From Chicago, I'm going to send you to North Carolina. From North Carolina, I'm going to send you back to Lakeland. And after every trip, we have to fight and readjust. And now, instead of my plan, we went from Chicago to Savannah, from Savannah to Alabama, from Alabama to Louisiana, from Louisiana to Jacksonville, Florida, and then back to Lakeland. And now you're looking at me and you're saying, like, where's the money, man?
Yeah, and not just that, and the added stress and agony tied to that, because it's not a smooth sailing. I mean, you already have traffic, you have DOT out there, you have shippers, receivers, lumpers, all these variables that can make your week hell. We're adding to the stress by doing something like that.
Absolutely. And as an owner operator myself, the stress takes toll. And once you let things go and you say, okay, I'm gonna let you do you, make sure I make money, your life becomes so much easier, because all that stress, all that constant thinking, what if I take this, but then this is gonna happen and that is gonna happen, and what if he's not gonna get me a reload, man, like, that's hell. That's not even work. So I suggest just do you, let your dispatcher do the thing. I know it's hard to allow other people to take on the wheel of strategic control, but I think that's the only way. And maybe if you're not making enough money, maybe that little change is just enough to make the difference to what you need.
So we'll end it on that note, because we got a lot more miles to drive here. But all right, guys, so drive safe. Drop comments below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Anything else?
We'll check back once we're back in Florida.
All right, guys, drive safe.
No.